Oh, this one's gonna be fun. I'm Lily.
And I'm Sam. You have no idea what's coming. New episode every single day. Subscribe now so you never miss one.
Before Sam tells you his story, let us tell you what's waiting in this episode, because this one is different.
We're talking about first dates, in English, and everything that can go wrong and right when you're trying to impress someone in a language you're still learning.
I'm gonna give you 3 essential words that cover every stage of a first date, from the moment you arrive to the moment you decide if there's going to be a second one.
And I'm going to tell you about a first date that started with me spilling. Spilling means accidentally pouring liquid somewhere it shouldn't go. Water on myself in the first 3 minutes.
There's a metaphor coming that reframes what a first date conversation actually is, and once you hear it, starting a conversation with someone new is going to feel completely different.
We've got expressions, common mistakes, 3 real scenes, and a quiz that makes everything stick.
Stay with us. Whether you have a date coming up, you're learning English for real-life situations, or you just love a good embarrassing story, this episode is for you.
Mostly the embarrassing story part. That part is very good.
So, Sam, tell me about the date.
Okay, so Marco set me up. Set me up means arranged for me to meet someone romantically with a friend of his about 2 months ago. Her name was Sophia. Marco described her as perfect for you, very smart, very funny, you'll love her. So naturally, I was terrified.
Naturally.
We met at a cafe, and I was nervous, genuinely physically nervous. My hands were cold, my brain was moving too fast, and the moment she sat down, I thought, okay, first conversation starter, say something, anything, normal.
And what did you say?
I reached for my water glass, completely misjudged. Misjudged means made an error of judgment, got the distance or amount wrong. The distance, knocked it over, and it went directly onto my lap.
No.
Full glass, cold water, directly on my lap, in the first 3 minutes. And Sophia looked at me, and I looked at her, and there was this moment of complete silence, and then she laughed, really laughed, and said, "Well, that's one way to break the ice."
Oh, I love Sophia already.
She was wonderful. And that moment, as mortifying, mortifying means extremely embarrassing, making you want to disappear, as it was, actually became our first conversation starter. We talked about embarrassing first date stories for 20 minutes. She had one involving a revolving door and a shopping bag. It was incredible.
And did you click?
Smiles. We really did. We went on 3 more dates after that. But it started with cold water on my lap and a woman who laughed instead of leaving.
That's a beautiful story. And those 3 words, nervous, conversation starter, click, are exactly what we're covering today.
I lived all 3 in about 45 minutes.
And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Nervous, conversation starter, click. 3 words all about first dates in English. And that's exactly what we're talking about today.
Let's do this.
Let's start with nervous. You know what nervous means. That feeling of anxiety and excitement mixed together before something important. But let's talk about how to use it naturally in English, because there are some nuances. Nuances means subtle differences in meaning or expression that make language feel more natural that learners often miss.
Like the difference between I'm nervous and I have nerves?
Exactly. I'm nervous is the most common. I feel anxious right now. I have nerves or I've got the nerves is more casual and often used before a performance or a big moment. And I'm a nervous wreck means you're extremely, overwhelmingly means to a very great and almost uncontrollable degree, nervous.
I was a nervous wreck waiting for Sophia to arrive. My leg was bouncing under the table for 10 minutes.
She was so nervous before the date, she changed her outfit 3 times. Or, it's completely normal to feel nervous on a first date. Everyone does. And here's something important. Being nervous on a first date is actually a good sign. It means you care.
I cared so much, I knocked over a glass of water.
Now, conversation starter. A conversation starter is something you say or do to begin a conversation, especially with someone you don't know well yet. It breaks the initial Initial means first, happening at the beginning, silence, and opens the door to a real exchange.
The water was technically my conversation starter. Unintentional. Unintentional means not done on purpose, accidental, but effective.
What's a good conversation starter for a first date? Or came up with means thought of, created, the perfect conversation starter, and suddenly they were talking for hours.
The best conversation starters aren't clever lines. Clever lines means pre-planned, witty phrases. They're genuine observations. Observations means things you notice about the situation or the other person, or questions that show you're actually interested.
Exactly. What made you choose this place? Or have you been here before? Simple, warm, real. Much better than something rehearsed. Rehearsed means practiced and planned in advance to the point of sounding unnatural.
Marco gave me 5 rehearsed lines before the date. I used none of them. The water did more than any of them would have.
And finally, to click. To click with someone means to immediately feel a natural connection, like two people who just fit together easily and effortlessly. Effortlessly means without effort or difficulty. The conversation flows, the silences don't feel awkward, and you leave feeling like you've known them longer than you have.
That's exactly what happened with Sophia. After the water incident, we just talked. Easily, naturally. I forgot to be nervous. I forgot to think about what to say next. It just happened.
We clicked immediately. The conversation never stopped. Or sometimes you just click with someone and you can't really explain why. You just know.
You just know. That's the most accurate description. Something relaxes inside you and you think, oh, this is easy. This is nice.
Here's the metaphor for today. Think of a first date conversation like tuning a radio. Tuning means adjusting to find the right frequency. At the start, there's static. Static means the noise and interference before you find the signal. Nerves, awkward silences, conversation starters that don't quite land. Land means connect and work as intended. But when you find the right frequency, when you click, the static disappears and suddenly everything comes through clearly. You're not trying anymore. You're just listening. You're just talking. The music is playing.
That's exactly what happened. Static for about 3 minutes, including the water, and then the music started.
And once the music starts, it plays itself. Now, expressions, things you can use right away. First, to hit it off. We talked about this in episode 5. It means to immediately like each other and connect. Very similar to click, but slightly more emphatic. Emphatic means expressed with strong feeling and energy.
We hit it off straight away. By the end of the date, we were already talking about the next one.
Next, to have chemistry. Chemistry, the romantic kind, means a natural and almost electric. Electric means exciting, full of energy, attraction and connection between two people. The chemistry between them was obvious from the moment they met.
Chemistry and I had chemistry over spilled water and revolving door stories, which I think says something good about us both.
Next, to put your best foot forward. This means to make the best possible impression. Impression means the effect you have on someone, especially at the beginning of something important.
I put my best foot forward and immediately knocked over a glass, which is arguably means you could make a reasonable case for, is still putting your best foot forward if your best quality is recovering gracefully. Gracefully means in a calm, dignified way, from embarrassing situations.
Next, to be upfront. We used this last episode, but it's very relevant here too. Being upfront on a date means being honest and direct rather than hiding who you are.
I was upfront about the fact that I was nervous, and she appreciated it.
And one more, to keep things light. This means to keep the conversation fun and easy rather than going into heavy, serious topics too early.
First date rule, keep things light. Don't start with your biggest fears, your deepest traumas. Traumas means deeply painful past experiences, or your strong opinions about controversial. Controversial means causing disagreement and strong reactions. Topics.
Save those for date 3. Now, 3 scenes. Scene 1, casual. Sam texts Marco after the date.
Okay, first of all, I knocked over a full glass of water on myself within 3 minutes before you say anything. But We hit it off completely. She was funny and warm, and we clicked in a way I wasn't expecting. Great conversation starter, by the way. Thanks for nothing with those rehearsed lines. The water did better. Going again next week.
Perfect. Honest, warm, natural, uses today's vocabulary completely organically. Scene 2. Professional. Priya asks Lily how she'd advise. Advise means give professional guidance or recommendations. Someone preparing for a first meeting with an important new client. Treating it like a first date in terms of making a connection. I'd say put your best foot forward from the very first moment. Be warm, be prepared, be genuinely curious about them. Have a good conversation starter ready, something specific about their work or their company that shows you've done your research. And don't try too hard to impress. The goal is to click, not to perform. People can tell the difference between someone who's genuinely interested and someone who's just reciting. Reciting means saying something that's been memorized and rehearsed, a list of qualifications.
Claire would print that advice and put it on the wall.
Scene 3. Emotional. A friend tells you they have a first date coming up and they're absolutely terrified. They say, what if we don't click? What if the silence goes on forever? What if I say something stupid? What do you say?
Hey, nerves mean you care. That's actually a good thing. And if the silence gets too long, you don't need a clever line. Just say something real, something you genuinely notice or wonder about. And if you don't click, that's okay too. Not every radio finds its frequency on the first try. But when you do click, and you will one day, you'll know. Something will relax inside you. The static will stop. And you'll just be talking. That's what you're looking for. You don't have to perform. You just have to show up.
Sam, that was genuinely lovely.
I've been on enough first dates to know that the ones where I tried hardest were the worst ones. The one where I spilled water everywhere was the best one.
Before the quiz, something I want to say to everyone learning English who has to go on dates or meet people in English. There is something vulnerable. Vulnerable means open, exposed, able to be affected, about trying to be charming. Charming means attractively pleasant and likable in a language that isn't your first. You can't always find the perfect word. You might stumble. Stumble means make a small mistake or hesitate. But here's the thing. Authenticity. Authenticity means being genuine and real, not performing, is more attractive than perfect grammar, every time. If you're nervous, say you're nervous. If you stumble, laugh about it. If you spill water on yourself, use it as a conversation starter.
It worked for me.
Quiz time. Ready?
Ready.
Number 1. That feeling of anxiety and excitement before something important. What's the word?
Nervous.
Number 2. Something you say or do to begin a conversation with someone new. What's that called?
A conversation starter.
Number 3. You meet someone and the conversation flows instantly and naturally. You feel completely comfortable.
Click. You click with them.
Number 4. You want to say you were extremely nervous. You say, I was a
nervous wreck.
Number 5. You and your date immediately liked each other and connected from the first moment. You
hit it off. We hit it off straight away.
Number 6. There's an obvious natural attraction and connection between two people. They have
chemistry. Great chemistry.
Number 7. You want to make the best possible impression at the start of the date. You
put your best foot forward.
Number 8. Wrong. I was very nervous in the date. Correct version.
I was very nervous on the date. On, not in. You're on a date, not in one.
Perfect. Number 9. The conversation is going deep and heavy too quickly. You try to
keep things light. Bring it back to something fun and easy.
And number 10, the final question. Marco is going on his first ever date in English next week. He's Italian, very confident about food and cooking, but nervous about the conversation. Using today's vocabulary, give Marco your best first date advice.
Marco, first, nerves are good. They mean you care. Let them see that. Second, don't use rehearsed lines. You're charming when you're real. Be real. Third, have a conversation starter ready that's genuinely you. Something about food, cooking, where you grew up. Something that opens a door to a real story. Fourth, keep things light at first. Save the 4-hour pasta sauce debates means serious discussions or arguments, for date 3. Fifth, and most importantly, if you click, you'll know. Something will relax inside you and the static will stop. And if you don't click this time, that's okay too. The right frequency is out there. Just keep tuning. Oh, and Marco, if you spill something, use it. Trust me on this one.
That is the best first date advice I have ever heard on this podcast.
I learned it the hard way and the wet way.
Shadowing time. Say these out loud with us. Nervous.
Nervous.
Slowly. This.
Nervous. That feeling of anxiety and excitement mixed together. It means you care.
Conversation starter. She came up with the perfect conversation starter. What's a good conversation starter for tonight?
Conversation starter. Something real that opens a door. Not a rehearsed line. Something genuine.
Click. We clicked immediately. The conversation never stopped. Sometimes you just click with someone and you can't explain why.
Click. When the static stops and the music starts, you just know.
Hit it off. We hit it off from the very first moment. I wasn't expecting to hit it off with anyone, but here we are.
Hit it off. Similar to click, but with more energy. Immediate, obvious, and undeniable. Undeniable means impossible to deny or ignore.
Keep things light. It's a first date. Keep things light. She kept things light and the conversation stayed fun all evening.
Keep things light, fun, easy, and warm. Save the heavy stuff for later.
Come back and say these phrases out loud again. Pause, rewind, repeat. Your mouth needs to practice these so they're ready when you actually need them, maybe sooner than you think. You know what I love about first dates? They're one of the few situations in life where two people actively want the same thing, to connect, to find the frequency. And yet somehow it feels terrifying because it matters, and things that matter always feel a little scary.
The scariest things are usually the most worth it. Sophia taught me that. Cold water and all.
And English is the same way. The conversations that feel the most terrifying, meeting someone new, going on a first date, having a real conversation in another language, those are the ones that change you the most, when you find the frequency, when something clicks.
Something clicks. Yeah, that's the one worth looking for.
Now, tell us in the comments, what is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you on a first date or in a first conversation with someone new? We want to know everything. We read every single comment.
And if this episode helped you, please hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who has a first date coming up, or someone who needs to know that spilling water in the first 3 minutes is not the end of the world. Also, our last episode was all about how to say no politely in English. Really useful one. Link is right there.
See you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye. And Sophia, if you're somehow listening to this, the water was worth it. Every single drop.
See you tomorrow.